He's on that. Yeah. He's actually a pretty smart kid.
So I have 6 o'clock, so
Quiet.
started. We all want to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, can you hear us okay?
Wait, man, I
You're
gotta
on mute, let's
how to run
up
these.
here, speaking.
I gotta learn how to run these AV.
So, hey, Lizette, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
And you're able to hear us okay, Lizette?
I am, yes.
Good, all right, good. Everybody has a copy of the agenda in front of them. And Lizette, you are the first order of business here. So I provided everybody with a copy of the updated data gathering survey. So I don't know if you want to walk us through it, if you want to get feedback, if you want to just jump to next steps, because I don't want to, and we could talk for an hour or two on it, but I don't want to waste everybody's time on that. So I don't know what you think is the best way to proceed here.
For sure. I'm happy to walk through it. If you guys would like me to, I can definitely do that. We can kind of run through the data and open it up for some questions. Does that kind of work? Just do a quick overview?
Sure. And just to settle one outstanding item, which is the logo. And I didn't have print enough for everybody, but you guys got a copy there and here's one. And you guys can share that. There's 2 versions of the logo.
Nice.
One is the graphic. The other is the photo, and you chose to use the bridge as the photo. Okay.
Sorry.
So if people want to look at that, and maybe we can make a decision tonight. I know you changed a few things on the logo in terms of some of the coloring, some of the, like the shapes for trees. I think you might have removed a couple buildings.
Yeah, we de-emphasized Bristol Aggie just because it was a little bit complex in the original version, and this kind of simplifies it a little bit. And then we emphasized more of those like fields, agriculture, farm. You'll see we added like a tractor and some like different colored field rows.
And I think you had some comments on the graphic that you thought had been omitted, or?
Yeah, I was just hoping to see a few creatures like ducks and cows.
A sailboat on the river or something.
Or sailboat, something, to reflect motion in water or something.
Sure. Let me, Dan, do you have a copy of what this would look like next to the actual like Dayton Economic Development
I do,
Plan?
yeah, that's what I printed out and gave to everybody. So it's the logo on the left, Dayton Economic Development Plan on the right as the, the master.
Okay, so just to give you an idea, when we put this logo in the document, it won't be full blown. So we don't want to, not that we don't want to add those types of details, but it just will disappear if we were to put it into, say, like an 8x11 kind of like PDF. It'll just shrink down a little bit too much, I think.
The details you're looking at might disappear altogether because it'll be so small, so.
Will look like blobs.
But the other was the idea of a graphic. So I don't know if people just want to, using these 2 as our choices, if there's a decision about what people like, the graphic or the photo, in terms of what logo, it'll just be stamped on everything to just say, this is who we are. So it's just like a quick identifier for people looking at documents to say, oh, it's the development plan.
Are we gonna talk about it, or?
Yeah, that we want to,
I like that that's kind of looks like Dayton.
yeah.
And even though I love the bridge, but that kind of says it all, really, one picture. You look and you say, hey, the church, farming, water, you know what I mean?
Right.
My opinion. I thought, I mean.
Yeah, and just remember that different elements of the logo will kind of pull them into different parts of the plan to speak to how we can kind of harness these strengths in agriculture, community building, commercial, but also we recognize that Dayton's a, family-friendly community, and it has a lot of really beautiful amenities that like the farm stand there, and that definitely plays into its economic development. So be able to pull those different aspects for different chapters of the plan as we speak about them.
Any other?
I like the graphic.
I like it.
I think it works.
I like it.
Go. I know you had been in favor of the photo initially.
I have
Nice.
mixed feelings on it. This to me is not real, and that's unfortunate that we can't get a picture of Dayton, a real picture, put on here. That's my only dilemma. But if we're gonna go one or the other, I'll take this one. Okay.
So I am, just to make sure, because we had been discussing this, I'm just going to make it as somebody wants to make a motion that we choose the graphic as presented for the logo to be included. Somebody wants to make that motion
Make a motion to go with that.
in a second.
Second, I'll second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we have our logo. Thank you, Lizette.
Thank you.
And then if you want to walk us through it and maybe in particular talk about any changes since the first version that you had sent out. I know we had gone back to you with some comments and questions, and so we can, speak to those as we walk through it, but.
Okay. And we can, this can be kind of more interactive than just me, talking to you guys the whole time. Let me share my screen. Could you give me sharing
Yep.
abilities?
Yeah, I can do that, Dan, if you want. There you go.
Thank you. So let's make this full screen. I know it's been a while since we've looked at this information and kind of taken in the data. One of the things that we look at when it comes to economic development is land use and zoning. It's what the town allows to be built in certain places. It also tells us priorities for certain locations. So I think it's really important to kind of talk a little bit about that. As you can see from the graphic, land use is predominantly residential in town, and industrial and commercial tend to be the smallest portions. That's not to say there isn't a lot of other things going on in town. There's a good portion of institutional land, agricultural, and different activities. And I have these kind of questions. If you guys at any point want to, interrupt me, raise your hand, let me know. We can always talk about anything here.
Yeah, just a question, and this actually is a little bit about the purpose of the data brief. Was it primarily to inform our next steps? So it's the audience, although it's a public document, the audience is this group, or is this something to be for the public? Because if it's for the public, I might want to see some changes to like highlight and make emphasis. But if it's primarily just to inform this group as we move on to the next steps, then that's fine, yeah.
Sure. No, that's a great question, actually. So this here, obviously it's all public information in the sense that there's nothing here that is, held close to the chest or anything like that. But this is mostly just that way we can get a sense for our existing conditions. Where are we today? How can that inform our decisions in the future? If there's something, say, for example, take land use. Are there any changes that we can make to land use to foster economic development? Is it going to be a specific kind of economic development? Are we talking about more mixed use, less of it? Those kinds of questions are what we're really looking at kind of informing when we do this exercise here. Does that answer?
Yeah, it does. And one comment about land use, because this came back to in a subsequent conversation we had, is solar farms are actually not represented on land use because the town chooses to categorize them as personal property. So they don't really appear as like a commercial tract. So it's not like our commercial is larger because we have more solar farms. It's kind of invisible when you look at this, although it's a big portion of our revenue stream right now, personal property, so, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
thank
FYI.
you for that. Mhm. And I mentioned that here, where I know it doesn't make its way into land use like you're saying, because it is classified as personal property. According to the state, I guess you can do either personal property or commercial, in which case it may show up that way, but in our case, it does not.
Okay.
And then vacant, I know there was a question that you guys had sent to me about, why is there so much vacant land? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And that just tells us that there's land in town that has constraints to it, whether it be wetlands or something else. This vacant land is usually not incorporated into taxable land, because otherwise you'll be taxing people for property that can never be developed and is maybe part of like some type of natural escape or what have you. Zoning districts, these are really important. Show up.
I just interrupt 1 second. Do we have any control over the AC?
Yeah, it's getting cold.
I don't.
It's right there.
I'm going to try.
Oh, there is a remote.
It's a remote.
It's just freezing in this room. I apologize. AC is
The
cranked to the max.
temperatures are all over the place.
Yeah. You can continue while we're doing that.
Okay, so Dayton has a number of zoning districts, your standard residential, business,
Seems like it's
commercial.
moving right way.
But Dayton also has some special districts, which I really wanted to highlight because it tells us some of the developmental goals that Dayton has in mind. So there's the village district, and I apologize if this map is not loading. The village district, obviously, we're looking at Route 138 and just a way to enhance those mixed use, small commercial retail opportunities. That to me sounds more of like a community building, a village district, economic development opportunity there. We also have a specific mixed use district that's along Route 138, 44, Williams, and Cedar Street. A few years ago, or quite recently, I'm not quite sure what the timeline is on this, but Dayton implemented a marijuana district, and obviously that's to manage the development of dispensaries in town where they go, as well as a medical district. And I guess a question I would pose to you guys, I'm kind of interested in getting a sense for how you think the success of these districts have been in attracting development in town. Have they achieved their goal? Is there more that we could do?
Let either Mike or Joe speak to that, but it seems to be moving pretty brisk.
The village district, what we call the overlay, that really, nothing has happened to that since it was, since we actually rezoned it. There are opportunities though, so. But as far as the marijuana, I honestly believe that it's a very limited area we have for that. And I'm not sure if it's already all taken at this point.
Well, we do
Do you know
have,
anything about that, Mike?
well, oh, Mike, you speak, sir.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So I don't disagree with what Joe has mentioned. One of the things that we have learned and I continue learning with the marijuana district, I like is the fact that the district itself goes, as we know, to the end of William Street. But it doesn't do anything on Route 44, which, that is really a burgeoning issue because it really, it goes up to really the Taunton line, which is a few maybe 100 yards or so from Route 44. But the current overlay district is also not reciprocated over once you get to the northwest portion-ish of the map onto the Dayton portion of 40, so yeah, right over there. I think that really could be an opportunity, you know, like for marijuana, but also and also for mixed use as well. But generally speaking, even as Joe was mentioning, like with the village district, you know, the infrastructure challenges that the town faces through the water district in relating to sewer capacity as well. You know, that is one of the challenges that I think, you know, I think impede you know, really maximizing the opportunity of those of the districts at this point. Just in terms of what I've seen over the last year.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Lenny?
When we talk about what we've been getting, it's in the area of Route 44. As you are aware, a gentleman came before you to open discussions with you about the potential of a marijuana facility on Route 44. Initial discussions with the planning board, more fact-finding, what steps he needed to take to go forward. There are a couple landowners, that are business owners / developers in the Route 44 section of town that have significant ideas for commercial and industrial growth. However, for that to take place, there's going to be the need for a lot of planning, both legal as well as political, because putting together a project that will sell to that section of town will be the key, because an attempt was made many years ago, 10 years ago,
Yep.
to try to change the zoning in that area, and it was defeated.
Correct.
I think this time around, the key is for many of the town officials to come together and plan, and also a little bit of dreaming. What could go there? What realistically will the town be okay with? And that's more of a group of people representing the different stakeholders in government coming together and say, is this realistic? Or are we just spinning our wheels?
I think the challenges that we are gonna run into is that a lot of people in the neighborhood are afraid of us changing the zoning to something unknown. You know, it's something, people just have that, and all of a sudden they're gonna have a factory, or they're gonna have a marijuana right behind their house or on the side of their house. So those are the challenges that we're gonna run into, because that whole area there, you said, is a large portion of land
At least
on
75 acres,
on Route 44.
going back into,
See, that doesn't sound that bad at all. I mean, I would love to pursue that one quite a bit. But is it clean?
well, see, that's early in the discussion, but
You guys can hear this discussion, okay, correct?
Yes, oh yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
I was wondering, would it be appropriate for the Dayton Industrial Development Commission to try to organize this? Obviously, meet with some of the stakeholders or people who have intention.
I think the only board that I can actually put that to work is the planning board.
Planning board, would
Yes.
they, as a representative of the planning board, would they be willing to,
I'm sure just speaking for myself, but at the same time, knowing the board that we have, everybody is all about business. We want business in this town. And I can actually say that we would all be in favor of pursuing that.
Okay.
But before we do it, we would have to get legal counsel and things like that to see if it is doable or not. Because, you know, it's something that's gonna take a year or two to actually get that done. We have to have it in a town meeting.
Right.
And I'm not sure if we can do this fast enough to get it into the next town meeting, if I'm.
The key that I see is putting together a presentation for the voters that will sell. So if a year isn't enough time, I'd hate to see it rush through, done so-so, mediocre presentation, and the people in that area say no again. So I think, you know, with John's help, because of his planning background, down with all the stakeholders, with the planning board, coming up with a presentation and having an open meeting where we really are unified, trying to sell this. And the key is the different groups involved be unified. You know, if there are concerns, let's work out these concerns in these subcommittee meetings before we go into a public meeting and have some town official get up and say, I'm against this, blah, 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 boom, 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 boom.
One comment, and then I think Tom wanted to say something too, which is that Lizette is, of course, coming out of this, trying to help us plan a survey to be done this summer, asking the townsfolk about what do they want in terms of, you know, the future of Dayton, level of business, types of business. So it would be ideal if somehow, even without getting into specifics, that question got raised in that survey. How, in a subtle way that doesn't scare people and lead them into, you know, all different directions about what could happen, and, you know, but still nonetheless, it should be on there in some form or other.
Just to clarify, because I cut out for a second, what type of zoning change are you guys thinking of for at 44 is what you guys were talking about?
Yes. I don't think there is any other area that we could actually get any benefit of rezoning any other area. But obviously, we're all open for suggestions.
Right, and that's definitely a conversation. That's something that we look at. That's why we take a look at land use and zoning so closely. But what is it that you guys have in mind? Like, what is the vision for 44? Because currently, this is mixed use with a little bit of industrial here.
On 44 is mixed, okay. But the problem that we have, if you see the industrial, it's sort of like, what am I gonna call that? Just that little area there is residential homes in front that are abutting 44. So those people are gonna have a lot of pull into that area. And everyone is nervous. What are you doing there? What are you rezoning it for? So am I gonna get a factory behind my house? Or am I gonna get a whatever behind my house? And as I see it right now, there's 7 homes directly in front of that piece of land. Everybody wants to see business, but when it comes to their backyard, it's illegal. And that's the dilemma that we have in Dayton.
You want to?
Yeah, if I recall, a few years back, there was a concept brought forward. It wasn't official just some ideas that were kicked around. It was with this committee and planning and some other folks. Not to call it an industrial park, but try to rebrand it as, because Somerset had a similar case where they have a residential, but their marine industries and they do have some other small factories, but it's not a factory like pumping out smokestacks like the old mill styles. But
More light industrial?
I could say maybe light industrial would sell it better than just saying industrial park. A small, I don't know.
What is the question that's gonna come up? What is your definition of light
I
industry?
know, and it's not in my backyard is what you're up against, yeah. I got you, yeah.
I think the important part when we propose these changes, right, to these areas, a lot of it is going to be not only conveying what the change is going to be, but what it might look like, to kind of make sure that people aren't imagining those smokestacks behind their homes, right? We're trying to, there are so many great examples of industrial uses and industrial parks in our region alone that are attractive even. They're laboratories or they're light medical supply manufacturing. So they don't have to be, your traditional idea of what industrial is. And that's something that if the town wants to get as specific as something like that, you can also dictate some of these things a little bit more using other features like, the dimensional usage and definitions that you apply for any of these districts. That's one way to control it, to make sure that it's not like too close or the impacts, that type of thing. So there are definitely ways to manage that and also kind of, convey the message of what it is.
I think an example of what you're talking about, and it sounds it's right in our backyard, Taunton. That's not, Taunton's industrial park is not. I
No,
mean, it's big and spread out, but it's not factories blowing out smoke though. Is it?
How about the one over by Walmart in Raynham, the Paramount Drive? Have you ever been in back or there? Johnson & Johnson is back there, huge. Federal Express is back there.
There you go.
Of course, Federal Express, trucking is probably not, that great, but certainly like a Johnson & Johnson, great facility.
That's Rainham.
Yeah.
and I think that's what's gonna end up happening is people are gonna start thinking, they're just gonna put a facility behind my house and I'm gonna be, having to smell the marijuana all the time and, all of these things are gonna be concerns. Would be my concern if I abutted that property. So I put myself in.
John?
If it's helpful, there are 3 marijuana organizations, corporations, that are members of the Taunton Area Chamber. And so we might be able to help with that, get those marijuana owners, those business owners together to help sell that story.
Absolutely.
That might be helpful.
As long as those people would be willing to attend a session such as that.
Yeah.
I think that would definitely help.
We have, as you are well aware from the gentleman who came before the planning board, a business that would really appreciate that type of a meeting and support. Survey is done. Is that one of the things that was mentioned? And I know members of your board have already said they were concerned about the smell and how that could, we also could potentially have that problem with Pure Oasis as the meetings and the approval process continues. The survey, could we put questions in that survey that are specifically of what businesses, what industrial businesses, the people in that neighborhood would be in favor of and be against?
Do you mean the survey be broken out a bit neighborhood by neighborhood as opposed to just blanket like what do you see in Dayton, but like,
If
For
we
this
could
area,
do
what do you see?
neighborhood, because different areas in this town are gonna have different views on industry. And everyone knows, it's not a secret, especially those people living on 44, that that is an area that people have talked for years about industry. So it's not a surprise if we talk about that neighborhood specifically. My hope is that people are open-minded about some development in that area. I'm sure they don't want to see Route 44 Rainham. And I'm pretty sure they don't want to see a chemical plant. But what are they okay with? Knowing that it is a mixed use, knowing that there is a potential of some industry or commercial buildings there. What is it they want to see in their neighborhood? Because we know that we have 75 acres and 2 developers, landowners, who are willing to work with us.
so this is just for Lizette's benefit, because she's going to have a big part in helping us come up with this survey, is aside from 44, are there other areas of town that you might want to carve out separately in the survey to say, what do you see here, what do you see here, what do you see there? And you don't have to answer right now if you want to think about it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So
John-
we're gonna,
Oh,
I just have a question. I think, talking about new zoning areas is one thing, right? But that does have long lead time. And I was wondering about the whole mixed use areas that we have already, and also the medical district. I was like, why is there a medical district? First of all, I didn't really know that there was a
yeah.
medical district. What was the intent of that? And is there something where we try to recruit medical
Like
business?
Yes. CVS pharmacy
I tried CVS.
didn't go.
I would love to see it. My property. So, I actually tried them and they're not interested in coming into Dayton. There's not enough of a population to actually do that. But to answer your question, as far as the medical
So, yeah.
area, I don't even know, is there a district for it, to be honest? Oh, okay.
No.
I think what happened was, there was someone that was in a different area, and they wanted to stay in Dayton, and I think we allowed them to put that building up. Not we, I wasn't involved in that, okay, so I'm gonna not speak French right now, so, that's the only area that I know of that it was that building that was allowed there, but it was zoned commercial.
Interesting.
See,
Yes.
it was,
There's an adjacent piece of land that is currently for sale.
yes, and that piece of land, I happen to know, I had it all set to put up a building on there a few years ago. And then all of a sudden they pulled it off. They decided not to build because
Is that part of the medical district too?
I don't know, but it is zoned commercial.
Yeah, it's hard.
I remember that, yeah. It's up by the gas station.
Just
So
don't-
my understanding is this section here with the crosshatch, I think it's both medical and industrial.
Where is this?
Yeah, I can't.
I can't read it. It's,
The colors.
That is that Old Somerset Avenue?
So that looks like
This
Aquaria.
is, this is
where Mechanics
Somerset right
Bank is
here.
and down. Joe, isn't it Mechanics Bank and down in that area?
Yes, but I don't,
Pine Reese's?
That's on the river, so it'd be
Oh, we're on the other
Aquarium.
side, all right.
That would be Aquarium.
that area that you're pointing to right now is the Princess House area there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now, if we look directly across the other way, the purple area, go up, go, it's right on the river, on riverfront.
Yep.
Just before that. There's.
This here?
That right there, yes. That property just got sold. I don't know what their intent is.
That's industrial.
12 acres there. Cannot build homes unless you rezone it.
Yep, because that's industrial, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is that industrial? I have no idea. Because that picks up everything going out towards Lincoln Avenue is zoned industrial and they have homes on it.
Hmm.
That's,
Huh?
it's very rural there too.
Yeah, that is across the street from my house, and there's houses, a cemetery, and these narrow strips of land abutting 3 Mile.
That's a
River.
historical cemetery.
Yeah, so there's absolutely no place to do anything there. I've always seen that on the map in one.
Which one? Which one are you?
What you were just talking about, the red.
Right.
It's right along the 3 Mile River, and it's like this little strip. There's agriculture, there's a historic cemetery, there's a bunch of homes, and it's all abutting the 3 Mile River. Yep. There's no place to do anything there if you wanted.
I put an offer in it. I was gonna build a house and, try to figure out a way to build a house for myself there.
Okay.
But somebody else, took it from me, so.
I'm just gonna, just for the sake of time, unless people have really, overriding questions about the survey, about the data survey, because we did have some questions, but I think most of them we've talked through, and just continue this discussion in general about the next step, which is the, collaborating on a survey and a timeline for that survey. Because I think when you talked to Mike and you were actually proposing like mid-June, maybe early July for the timing of this, which sounded to me great, but aggressive, unless you had something really in mind that, you had a framework already that you were working with. But otherwise, it sounded like a lot for me that we'd be doing in a short period of time, but I would let you drive that depending upon, better, so.
Agreed. I think based on my initial, timeline of when we were going to meet, when we were going to discuss, that may have been all right, but given our timeline and also summertime, I think maybe a launch mid-July might be more in line with our schedule, because that'll give us a chance to take a look at a draft of the survey, incorporate any feedback, and then launch it once, upon that deadline in July.
So obviously, this committee meets once a month. It's not impossible we could have one-offs if necessary, but for the most part, it's once a month. So are people okay? I'm already on record as being their point of contact with Circuit for this committee. So are people okay with me continuing to work with Lizette as she hammers out the survey, only to have it come back here for, everybody's opinion and feedback and finalization? But we'd probably be doing it like in June, like we would meet the 4th Monday in June, Lizette. So we'd have to have something to come back to people with that's a solid draft, so that they can give the thumbs up, because if we give the thumbs down or tweak it or, change it in too many substantial ways, we're gonna miss July as a launch.
Sure.
So, okay. But that sounds okay, sounds feasible to you as a goal?
So that would be June 27th?
The 4th Monday, whatever, yeah, 4th
Okay.
Monday.
4th Monday, okay, yeah. Let's aim for that. I will have a draft to you guys then, and you guys can give me your feedback, and then I'll incorporate that, and we'll be ready, fingers crossed, to launch by mid-July. I think that should be fine.
Yeah.
And then I just want to address one quick question that I heard about breaking up the survey into different areas. We don't have to do all the areas. I think that may be a little overwhelming and make the survey a little too long to keep people's interest, but we can definitely pull specific areas. So for example, based on the priority development areas that Dayton has identified, really, we have Route 44. We could talk about, specific changes that people would be open to there. Route 138. And these are all questions that are really, if you think they need to be asked, like, are there changes to Route 44 that we need to ask people? Clearly that discussion tells me yes. Is that true also for Route 138? And maybe other areas that we have identified in this presentation.
In a survey, and as a selectman, I'd be really curious of this answer regarding the marijuana districts. What will the town be willing to accept as far as the number of facilities in the town?
You or Mike had once mentioned to me that legally, the town can accept as many facilities as it has liquor licenses.
Correct.
That's the legal maximum.
Right.
So your question, which I think is 5 right now, somewhere around there. But the question is like, what's a tolerance level?
Right, because see, here's the thing with that. I understand what the bylaw says. We can have a maximum of 5, but as we found out, Mr. Figueredo has found out, if people don't like something through the process, they can make it difficult for the developer, the builder, whatever, to get through the process. You know, they need to get board approval, the various steps to get a business going. And we all know that presentations have legal ramifications. But we also know that in some instances, the gray areas come down to politics. And if you have boards that get a lot of pressure to vote no by the citizens, it becomes more and more difficult for a developer to be successful, or more expensive for the developer to become successful. That's the nature of the process, if you will, the politics of it. So trying to force 5 upon a town that maybe doesn't want 5 is not good politically. It's also not a way to keep this town close-knit and the big heart that we talk about.
I honestly don't even see, knowing the town of Dayton, I don't even see an area that we could put 5 as far as retail goes.
Okay.
I really don't. Unless something else is done, because I don't remember the exact thing that it says, but it has to be so many feet away from homes or residential homes, or from anyone that has to do with schools, any area that has to do with schools, it has to be so many feet away. So if we were to do something like that, we would probably have to change that as well. And I don't know the legality of it, but it's a pretty,
Restrictive?
huh?
Restrictive?
Yeah,
Guidelines?
yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough one. We don't have a lot of land that, I just don't see it. And I know Dayton pretty well.
And the people of Dayton pretty well.
I'm sorry?
And the people of Dayton pretty well.
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people, so, and people will be people. I mean, there's nothing I dealt with people for about 40 years, so I know what it's like to deal with people. And the one thing that I've learned is you cannot give them what they don't want to take, so it's just one of those things. Can it be done? I'll tell you, I'm all ears, and I will do whatever it takes to accomplish that goal, because I would like nothing more than to see this town, get some business in here to kind of help us out.
Absolutely. I think the climate is changing also with the public. From what I hear, where I live, people are talking about, when are they gonna get some businesses in this town to help balance out the residential? Well, you've been here for a long time. I mean, it's tough because half the town has sewer, half doesn't. I mean, it's all, it's another can of worms, but
But let's just say that the sewer line is extended.
yeah,
What are we gonna gain by it?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Oh, I can.
Well, go ahead.
I don't think we're gonna gain anything. We're not gonna gain any businesses going forward on that.
Okay.
You have a serious need is down on, along the river there, Pleasant Street. That needs sewer more than anything else
And that would be
because of the
environmental.
cluster homes that are built there, but if Somerset, if the deal could be had, anyway, that's another story.
Joe, and just throw this out quick, I'll let her go. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Getting back to the work of this committee with this grant where we have access to right now, I did think that a big part of this process was to have like vision sessions or dream sessions, if you will, and facilitating that and just in terms of creating an image of what it is we would hope would come. But correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as though once we had our vision in place and we may be able to market that out there and say that we have small parcels of land available, it really would be on the developers' shoulders to say that they have a product or they have a business that they believe they can offer the residents of Dayton. And obviously we may get some information from our survey, like, what do you want? Do you wish you could get your hair done in town? Do you wish that do we need a bigger daycare facility but it seems to me that we kind of waste our time talking in circles when really somebody has to come to us with an idea and say, I like that piece of land and I'll make it look the way you want it to look to fit your small town. And these are the guarantees we promise you if you will let us put this here so we won't disturb your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
I love what you're saying. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Pat, we currently have a group on Route 44 that want to do just that. I mean, like to bring Bill Mariano and Mike Thibodeau into one of the meetings to talk. They both live on 44. Those are the two gentlemen that have adjoining pieces of land. It's about 75 acres. That have a very good understanding of what that neighborhood could handle. A little bit of an idea of the reservations that that neighborhood has, a lot better than I think any of us do. They also have been in contact with that marijuana grower who has reached out to the planning board. So if we focused on the Route 44 project, I think we could have a vision and a roadmap of progress. The other areas, they're small and there isn't a lot of potential. Unless someone has $22 million to go down Route 138, which that's not going to happen.
I don't want to take away from this conversation. I think this is something that's not to say short term, because I know it takes a long time to lay the foundation for these types of initiatives. But I think what we're trying to do here is, to someone's point earlier, is we're trying to lay the foundation and create the conditions, and provide the proper zoning and policy incentives for those developers to come here. We can change as much or as little as we want, and work with what we have based on our goals, right? So it seems that what's 44 shaping out to be is there might be some zoning changes in the future, and that's something that this plan can address. When it comes to those larger projects, bringing sewer to bring in, development, there are funding sources. We just need to have the proper planning in place, as well as private interest in those types of things. If we're talking about EDA, if we're talking about Mass Works, maybe it's just a matter of having the proper planning, studies done, but also being able to attract that private interest. And as we currently stand, we may not have that. So we don't have a compelling narrative to get the funds to do those projects. Our goal is that, with this study in place, we'll be in a better place to start, achieving those, chipping away at those projects, right? So I don't want us to think just working with what we have, because we always have the possibility and options to change things. And hopefully the survey will reveal some of that, as will the different workshops that we have, because we have at least, I believe it's 2 or 3 that we're planning. So this is just the beginning of that conversation. And I know that that conversation about 44 is fresh and new and exciting, and that momentum should continue. But at least for this plan, we want to take into account what's going on now, but also be able to take that vision a little bit further out, because this is going to take a couple years to implement, and really get that vision to where we want it to be.
Okay. Unless people have other overriding things they want to communicate to.
Oh, not really, I can wait.
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoy having these conversations too, but we want to make maximum use of her time, and we don't want to be here all night either. So, I mean, knowing that she's going to work on a survey, Mike and I will be in communication with her. We'll bring it back here. We know we want to use the survey to get people's input on 44 specifically, but we don't want to ignore the rest of the town. We want to still ask people, what do you think? What do you want? We want to have them be part of the creation of the story of what the future is going to be. We don't want to, it's not top down. So do people have things, or Mike, do you have anything you want to add? We don't want to, so we can let Lizeth go and we can move on to the rest of the agenda.
So yeah, no, I mean, I just have to what was just actually mentioned, I completely agree. I completely agree with Lizeth. I mean, I think we're at the infancy of this, and really, using the surveys and then the focus groups, and the workshop meetings to really get that buy-in, from residents about which types of things are achievable and have support. Whether it's 44 or any other area, those are the things that are really going to give this thing, I think, the support and momentum that we really need, to really plan out our future here. So I couldn't agree more.
Did you have anything for us, Lizeth, before we let you go, or?
Nothing that we haven't already mentioned. We have an official decision on the logo and more or less our branding, so we can start crafting not only the web page for when we're ready to launch. That'll be incorporated in the survey as well, that branding. We've talked about collaborating on that survey. I think we may be a little early to set that date for the first public workshop, but I want to start thinking about maybe like a general time frame. Like, is the summer totally off the table? Are we looking at more fall when people are back in school and families are active and out and there are events that we can go to? And I know there had been discussion about a Dayton business event. John, I think you had mentioned that at one point.
So would you like me to speak to that just briefly? So, Lizette, we thought it was not gonna happen in June, it would be too difficult to secure the funding and get the school arranged and that sort of thing. We were tentatively looking at, the latter part of June. So now it looks like we're gonna try to lock in on September 20, the week of September 21st. So 21st, 2nd, 3rd, we have funding. We have significant funding, actually from Bay Coast, who's come up and give us a big check. And I also am working with SCORE, the volunteer organization that I work with. They have funding through an additional grant through pandemic. They got extra money at the national level that they're distributing through the different chapters. So I'm hoping to come up with some money too. Yep,
That's cool.
yep.
Thank you.
Great.
Yep, so it looks
I
like
think that-
September, Lizette, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think that timeline actually works out even better because by that point, we'll have some momentum on the survey. The survey won't close anytime soon. I usually like to have these surveys out for the duration of the project. And as we close and as we start writing, that's when we'll close the survey and be like, over the course of a year, we got X amount of comments on it. And I think that's a great way to keep people interested, right? So we can have a survey then, we'll have flyers indicating, what the project is. And hopefully once we have a date for the workshop, advertise it there as well. So I think we can do a lot at that one event.
Great.
So, and just,
So
yeah, so I'm sorry, I just wanted to piggyback on that. What I've actually found today in real time is that Dayton residents are actually very, very, very supportive of surveys. Like we launched a new website survey around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And already we have 54 responses. So like if that is any indication about how our residents like surveys, I like at least when we're talking about our town website, the website, they like to participate. So hopefully the same thing can transcend over into economic development as well.
Great.
Thank you very much, Lizette. I appreciate your coming this evening and look forward to working.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys have any questions, Dan, you know how to reach me. So just keep me updated.
I'll reach
and
out to you and we can set up a first round of discussions about the survey details and that kind of stuff and start cranking.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next agenda item I'm actually going to table because Mrs. Arujo was not able to join us tonight.
Okay.
I do have a request in regards to that position. Originally, we had said that it would be a representative of the Bristol Aggie School. We've reached out and they weren't able and haven't. And we have interested. In order for that to happen, position from representative of the Aggie School to a representative of the farming community of Dayton. And I'm wondering,
Had the selectmen originally made this charter for the board? Because
well,
it started in September, it was like it's already set that way? Or is that us? That would be changing that charter.
so what I would, and it's too late because we have a meeting Wednesday, because of open meeting law. But if I could get a request in the form of a motion to change that tonight, at our first meeting in June, we would vote on that.
I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Done.
The next, which I'll actually ask Mike, oh, he's still there, okay, is we need to elect a representative to the TIF board. This is a newly reconstructed TIF board. It's been in place for a while. Oh, cute.
Wave.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
And we have our TIF representative. So Mike, if you want to just tell us in a couple sentences, like, if, as much as you know about when they're going to be meeting, like day of week, time of day, if that's known, and the general responsibilities, and we can try to pick somebody.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to say, beginning around 2018, the town and the selectmen, they created a TIF review board that only had a few people on it. Town administrator, a representative of the business community, and actually a representative from the FinCom as well. Over the last over the last month and a half, we have been approached as a town, like from an expanding business into Dayton, who is interested in pursuing a TIF with the town, tax increment financing arrangement. And in looking at the composition of the TIF review board, the current structure, in my opinion, and also in the opinion of the selectmen, really is not representative. Like really the people who need to be at the table when talking with the business are actually interested in pursuing a TIF for the town. So about a month ago now, the selectmen they reformed the TIF review board to include the town administrator, the building commissioner, the assessor, because that's really in talking about values, and what what the land, and the building values really could be. Having the assessor involved would be important, as well as a representative from the DDIC, and from a member, and from a resident of Dayton at large as well. So really, we're at the beginning of the infancy of the process, working with the expanding business owner to really to begin the conversation. At this point, I think in a very initial conversation we had with the business owner early in the spring, I think ideally we would be trying to get agreement on a potential arrangement for the special town meeting. So over the summer, I would venture to say once every few weeks of meeting time, with about 1 to 2 hours per meeting. Over the summer, to discuss and work out a TIF with the current business interested. But then from there forward, it would be on an as needed basis, if that makes sense.
So I think the only members who would be eligible would be Raphael, myself, Patty, or Tom, because you're liaisons, and I don't think we allow chaining of liaisons. Like, you can't be a liaison to us and then we send you off elsewhere. Might be more convenient for us, but so I don't know if among the four of us anybody is particularly interested. I would not mind doing it, but
Well, what's the time, when do you meet?
he just said, I don't think they have a definite. They
Yeah,
have
I don't know.
a couple hours.
Yeah, we don't have a set.
2 weeks. Yeah.
set of
You can't
dates yet.
find anybody, I could,
Well, I said I'm
I hate to
willing.
volunteer for something else, but I mean,
No, I'm willing to do it, so,
you can?
yeah. But unless, Patty or Raphael, if you have an interest in doing it.
You don't mind doing it?
No. All right,
I'll
so
do it as far as I'm concerned.
somebody wants to make a motion
I'll
to
make a motion.
I'll second.
Second, all right.
Represent us.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, all opposed? All right, so Mike, I'll be the TIF representative.
Great, thank you, everyone.
The next is, I did respond to Kevin Smith, telling him that we would probably be interested in setting up a table at the Firecracker Festival on July 9th. A lot of communities are doing that. We hadn't had a chance to discuss it here, so I just wanted to see if everybody was in agreement. And if so, figure out, what's going to be available. It's
Set a table up or something like that?
you were there last year. What did most people do? They had a
Table like this.
You'd like to go?
So the chamber was there.
You were there.
We were there last year.
Okay.
And we're hoping to get a contingent to come this year. So we just set up a tent and a table, yep, and gave away some goodies and, just had some handouts on, what the chamber was all about and that sort of thing, yep.
So do people think we'd like to do this?
I have to do one for another. So I'll be there. Maybe I could put it next to yours.
I think it would be good to raise
No?
awareness that we have this.
Hey, Joe. Everybody's looking at
I
Joe.
think we should have.
Joe can bring the tent.
So does someone want to make a motion that we do,
Yeah, I think it's good because we're gonna do it for the first time from
okay, in a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
He doesn't like that. I
You're
can't
out of town.
volunteer to too many.
No. So now the second set, and we don't actually have to decide tonight, it's just because this is July 9th, but somebody or a couple of us will just have to, plan to be there, and we can talk about what we might want to be able to hand out. Obviously, I think the best thing to do at the table would be to just find ways to promote existing businesses in Dayton. We can talk about ourselves too, but whether that means collecting people's business cards or flyers and having them available to hand out, it's a good way to introduce ourselves to the town, saying, hey, we're going around, we're gonna give you some free advertising, and who's this is who we are anyway, and, I'm open to, whatever suggestion people might have, we might do there.
Because the event is July 9th, we will be in the fiscal '23. We'll be in the 2023 fiscal year. As a result, we have $1,000 available. Brochures created
Should we make a magnet?
as long as the bill is July 1st. Put in
Fine.
brochure, or,
Some little giveaways.
so if there's something to think about as you,
It's the one,
you
right? And
Yeah.
it's the one pager that says, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's what
Should we
we're
give?
working on right now.
And I don't know what that little item would be, but everyone loves to.
Magnets are great,
Or,
pens, something.
keychain with like a dollar sign on it or something. Bring it.
We have time to think about
Yeah.
it, but I will tell Kevin that we did take a vote. We will definitely be planning to go attend. The next is, we had Tom.
Oh.
Go ahead, sorry, Tom, go ahead, Mike.
So, I just want to I want to piggyback on Patty's idea, I think like a magnet, so like that helps with awareness and like the branding of what we're trying to do at the outset would be very, really helpful.
Graphic.
Something like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like then maybe with one of those like calendars at the bottom that like they do for the Celtics. Obviously, we're not the Celtics. So, but if we could have like a 12-month calendar on it too, that could be
On their
cool.
fridge.
Yeah.
That's cool. Insurance companies do that and they're popular.
Yep.
I don't know what the cost is. It's a great idea, actually.
So then our brand
Somebody
will
would use
actually
that.
live on and be in people's heads,
Yeah, they'd take it and they would take it home. They wouldn't throw it away. It would actually be something they could put on the fridge.
Yeah.
Maybe the fridge or somewhere. I don't know.
I was trying to think of something.
Little knick-knack, little.
Might help
ad.
Give away a
estimate pricing
mug.
for stuff like that.
Mugs are pricey, yeah.
So Raphael, investigate pricing for these kind of stuff.
Yeah.
and Come back and tell you what
A little
these kind of
brand,
things
that
cost.
one. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
The next, go ahead, sorry.
Rafa, there's a number of promotional type businesses that are members of the chamber. So maybe you could go to the chamber website, look at promotional merchandising, and like, there's a whole bunch of local businesses that might be able to even give you a discount, that sort of thing, okay?
Awesome.
Yeah.
We had talked before about requesting to the Board of Selectmen that the DDIC have its own Facebook page. We never took an actual vote on it, which is why I haven't acted on it. But the intent of it was primarily so that both the residential and then maybe later the chamber business survey, we could stick on the Facebook page as opposed to having this be a paper survey or, it could be done on a Lizette was talking about a website, but, people work off Facebook as well. And then John had mentioned about communities have LinkedIn page. Dayton does have a LinkedIn page. We do not have a presence on that LinkedIn page, and I'm not sure exactly what we might want to put on it, but at the very least, do we want to entertain a motion to request the selectmen to allow us to have a site on both the town Facebook page and also the town LinkedIn page?
Oh, business, that's big, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
Big stuff, yeah.
I brought it to Dan's attention because, was it Mattapoisett? I saw that on LinkedIn, I saw that Mattapoisett was saying, we're open for business.
Big.
Yeah, that's,
It's a big thing.
Good.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we
Actually, let me just
request.
ask Tom, Mike, rather real quickly. Does anybody have a LinkedIn site other than the town general?
No,
Didn't
not
see
that I know of. So, and to be honest with you, everyone, I haven't even logged on to the town's LinkedIn page, so I would need to, and I do need to find out what the login and who has the login for that as well.
All right, I'm sorry, Patty, you were going to make.
Well, I did, yeah. Motion to request that the DDIC have a Facebook page and add also the LinkedIn page or add to our town link.
Is that a second?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So I just need to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen, correct? Requesting that? All right,
It'll be in the June meeting,
okay.
6, I believe.
The next item, and I really actually wanted to make this a standing item on all our meetings, even though progress is going to be glacially and painfully slow, but talk about the Zeneca site. I was talking to Mike not too long ago, and I don't know if you're still thinking about, Mike, of maybe trying to set up a personal meeting with Zeneca. We had talked about what leverage does the town have to start them into actually talking about either cleanup or repurposing as anything other than just letting all this real estate sit. But after that, as I said, just keep this on here as a standing item, and we can just keep chipping away at what leverage does the town have to move them, because they seem extremely reluctant to even talk to the town, let alone do a lot about the site. So, and you might have a lot more history about Zeneca, I don't know, but no, okay. Mike, are you still planning to do that, Mike, when you have more free time, like after town meeting and then it's the summer? Or?
Yeah, yes, and as you mentioned, I think so I think we should reach out, and do an offline meeting, so they don't, so that they don't approach the meeting, feeling like we're trying to do a gotcha. We can really just see where they're at offline. Without anything being part of the record, and really seeing where they're at, what their plans and visions are.
Okay. That would be you one-on-one with them, or pulling in whoever you need to pull in, but it would be small and informal and okay. Oh, does anybody have any other comments about that, or? No, okay. So we'll just leave that with Mike for now. The next item was I just wanted to make this a standing item going forward, to just generally discuss any new business interest in town. So just a couple is, One Connection did officially open on May 27th. I know Lenny was there, Raphael and I were there, John was there, Mike for the ribbon cutting. So congratulations to them.
And they donated, part of their agreement with the town, $25,000.
And 3% of gross sales, too.
That will have an impact.
He has to check, by the way.
Future businesses, that's just an example of what business will do for this town and industrial growth will do for this town.
Oasis, I understand, passed a final planning board hurdle at their last meeting, and I'm sure they have other state hurdles they have still to go through, I don't know, but
Oh, no, that's just for them, for the growing facility.
growing facility.
Any other business going forward will have to come in before the planning board.
Because they were talking about leasing space to other growers who want to
Absolutely.
make use of the facility they've built out now, and, but they themselves are actually now really good to go, or?
They're good to go. Obviously, they still have to go through
The state,
that's a long process. I mean,
Yeah.
Anybody that's been in that building will know that there is a lot of work to be done there. A lot of work.
Do they have a timeline that they've given about when they think they're going to be operational, they personally? When they just don't?
You know what, now that I think of it, they did say something, but I don't know exactly what that was, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if within the next year or two.
Yeah, because they actually just last October, they were still in the process of purchasing the property, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they,
I'm a long way,
I don't think they passed papers any more than 3-4 months ago.
4 months ago, yeah. But they were going to be something like, they personally will be something like 70,000 square feet.
Say that again?
They mentioned a number like 70,000 square feet of gross space.
No, I think 60,000 square feet
60,000 square feet.
is their growing facility. But the next one, talking about it, is a similar amount.
Wow.
It will be 120,000 square feet in that building there. But the thing that's incredible is on how two of our board members actually took a tour, and they found that on the outside of the building, you can't smell anything. It's so odor-free, it's unbelievable. So,
Sorry.
Talked about a tour. I met with Toby, thinking about May 20th, but when the One Connection opening came up, I kind of postponed it. I was curious, are Fridays bad for any of you about a tour? Because that's
tour of where? A tour of,
Pure Oasis facility.
okay, sure, I'm up.
If you don't mind my asking, is what is the purpose of this tour? Now is just to educate us
Yes.
on
What is there?
what potentials
Yes,
are for that property?
yes.
I would love that, yes.
And then the other thing going along with that, see this as something that can be very exciting for us as members of the Dayton Industrial Development Commission through the Business Expo, is once we go through that facility and we see what the potential is, and we talk to Toby, and we talked to Jimmy Agia, who has been through the building and has some great ideas. What steps can we, the DDIC, do to help promote that or recruit businesses? Or, and John, I don't know how Phil, his plate is, but to see if John, through his connections, can reach out and try to lead businesses to Toby. I was at the convention, Republican convention, on Saturday, and I met some people from Marion, members of the Board of Selectmen in Marion, in fact, and I told them about what we're doing, and they were excited to hear about the potential that our group has. And don't be surprised if they reach out either to Mike or this board itself to find out what we are going to be doing and what our plans are to grow business in our town, because they have the same concerns and they don't have a plan about how to do that. A lot of towns can't afford an urban planner. And this board has the potential of filling that need. Cost to the taxpayer. Urban planners are getting 90,000 a year minimum, right? So we can't afford to add another person on the staff. So the job that this board is doing in filling that role is huge.
I would just ask you before the tour, if you give us or might give us some guidelines about, because we will have a quorum if 4 of us go.
Oh, yeah.
That, how do we avoid having this turn into a public meeting where everybody has to go? What are we not allowed to talk about? What are we not allowed to discuss with each other? Those sorts of things. So it is just us getting a tour, and it's not a DDIC meeting.
My understanding, when we did the meeting with Osh and Klosh, and all 3 of us, Ken, Brett, myself, were there aren't many rules about it, but there are specific black and white rules. And I'm sure Mike can fill us in, just as he filled us in with the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, good.
I'm not sure, because it is a tour, if we have to actually post it. But there are certain things we can and can't do in the discussion process. Yeah. And Mike would be better at explaining that.
Yeah, I mean, just before we go, you don't have to tell us now, but yeah.
If I may, about marijuana facilities. So you were talking about the odor outside of a facility. I had the opportunity to tour Commonwealth Alternatives. Do you folks know where Commonwealth Alternatives is? So Commonwealth Alternatives is on Mazone Boulevard off of Route 140 in Taunton. You know where Home Depot is? You know where the Olive Garden and Smoky Bones are? That's Mazone Boulevard right there. It's at the end of that street. You would never, ever know that there was a marijuana growing facility there. And they have like 9 different grow rooms. It was an amazing afternoon, actually. And I had, because I'm part of the chamber, they're part of the chamber, they wanted the board of directors to come see. So it was an awesome opportunity. So I would encourage anybody, if they want to like get their nose, try your nose, just drive to the end of Mazone Boulevard and take a sniff. You can't smell anything.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I was mostly nervous about, because we had that 1,000 foot from any residential homes. And we gave them a waiver on that because they did not meet that. So it was a good thing that Woody and Tim actually had the opportunity to tour the facility, and they came back, they were all positive on it, nothing at all, no order at all.
The other business new in town, and I just found this out recently on the website for Dayton Center, which is the 1901 County Street Plaza. That's what the new plaza is called. They call it Dayton Center, they call it.
Alice's.
That's that center, right? So a new company just moved in there called Puddle Jumpers Quilts. They opened on May 7th.
Oh, okay.
So congratulations. They do custom pieces like memory pillows, quilts, bears, wall hangings, that sort of thing. They opened
From Somerset, I think.
I don't know. She opened on May 7th. And then on that same website, I saw that they're about ready to open floor 2 and at that plaza. They've got it laid out for office space. All modular walls, so it's really just a huge open space on floor 2. And they'll customize the configuration of the walls and doors any way you want it. So
Got an elevator too.
an elevator too. They didn't give an opening date, but they just said coming soon. This is where we had actually been talking about your idea about short-term leases, like ad hoc office space.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they're working towards, or they're looking for more like long-term leased professionals, but either way, I mean, it's
Great.
nice that they're making a use of that space, yeah.
I'm not gonna comment on anything.
Not good.
Out of it.
Yeah, and what was the other business besides, it was just puddle jumpers quilts, was there something else?
Well, Pure Oasis we talked about, which is at the mill.
Oh, okay.
One connection. And then,
Plenty
and then the floor two at the plaza.
Floor two,
is
okay.
Opening soon, according
Or
to
two,
the second floor, where they belong in talking about apartments, but now it's going to be all office space.
all office.
The website says coming soon, and it's designed as just a huge open space on that second floor with modular walls, and like you said,
Beautiful.
figure it any way you want.
Okay.
Move the doors, move the floor, the wall.
so the name of the company is 42?
No,
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 the
it's
second.
Jim Aguirre's company, it's the.
You mean floor two?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so it's available.
it's available, yeah. And then the other one, which you already mentioned, is called Coastal Cultivars of Boston, which reached out to the planning board. They, long-term discussion, but they want to move a cannabis dispensary onto Route 44 into
What are they called?
Coastal Cultivars. I think they've also been in contact with Mike, at least via email. So that's a more long-term, obviously, because they're not zoned properly, but it's. Do other people know anything else that's going on in town that we just want to make a note of?
Would this board be open to the idea of meeting with Mike Thibodeau and Bill Mariano in regards to the potential on, they're both business owners, and they also have considerable amount of land that has potential for development.
I think it's a great idea. And if they had some kind of engineering of this land that they could actually bring to us so that we could put our thoughts together based on what they have, because I'm concerned about the amount of wetlands that's there. And I'm also concerned about the people around it. That's my biggest concern.
Would we be, if they came here before they went to the planning board, even if it's just informational, are we kind of stepping on the planning board's toes at all, or?
No,
No, okay.
no, because I think what we could do is, as, this board, is we can help them going forward with anything that,
Yeah, one of the things that I have heard repeated from developers, businesses trying to come into town, and Jimmy Aguirre is doing a lot to help end this problem, is the fact that they come in not knowing what the expectations are, and they get beat up. And it's expensive, and it wears them down. And it is better to find out ahead of time than come in and start the process, spend money, and then find out, can't do that. Example, the whole issue of a developer that's looking to develop on William Street. Started development in the process, hired a lawyer, got somebody on board, put together a presentation, and then got to the meeting and found out that there was a bylaw that says you can't have marijuana fields in Dayton. Now, the frustration of those people was huge, because they had spent all this money going down a road that if they knew that it couldn't happen, they wouldn't have gone down, obviously. So having these, especially here, and being the forum for that, having people like Joe on the board, who's on the planning board, would enlighten them. That's why that marijuana developer came before the planning board. He was looking for anything in particular, specific. He was looking for information. So
if I may, I think We have an office manager that's like no other I've ever met. She is unbelievable. If anybody walks into that office and asks a question, what is the process on this, that, or the other? She's got a form to hand out immediately. She will help anyone with that. So if anybody comes in and says that they were misled, that they had this and that, that's a
I
no-no.
wouldn't say misled, but just didn't know.
Yeah, didn't know because they didn't ask. They took it up on themselves to actually do it and not ask the right person, the right question. But I will not sit here and allow her, our office manager to,
Oh, I didn't mean that as a criticism.
no, I know you,
I think it's.
I know you didn't.
It's not,
People don't
it's
know.
it's lack of information. So I'm just wondering if the Dayton Industrial Development Commission can help spread the word.
We can't do anything as far as, you know, what the process is, but we can encourage people to go to the right person and work with the right boards. And I tell you, I couldn't, I'll stand by her any day of the week.
Totally agree.
She's that good, you know, so.
But I'm just wondering if the DDIC can help in the information process. Who are the people to see? Whether it be Jimmy Aguirre or the planning board.
And 90% of it will be the planning board.
Planning board.
Harry will be the right person to go see. If she's not, I'm 100% sure of this. She will indicate them to the right person.
So in terms of your point, I know, you probably know Mike Thibodeau, I know Raphael does. One of you wants to reach out to him. Then if it's June that we wanted him to come, I would just like to know, does he want like 15, 20 minutes to talk, or does he want more? Because June is probably going to be very consumed with the survey.
Right.
So if not, if he needs more time, then we'd probably be talking July, but you can find out what he's looking
Rafa and I
for.
can work on that.
Okay.
He needs to have a PowerPoint presentation.
I'm sorry?
He needs to have a PowerPoint presentation, exactly.
He wants one?
He has to.
Oh.
That's the only way he can convince how good his business is going to be.
We'll talk about that.
Let's see, old business, next agenda item. I didn't know, we just hadn't heard back. I know you were working on the company that's now at the mill that is probably going to be leaving, but they wanted like find a space for a 20,000 square foot building, and
I don't know. I haven't given up.
Yeah.
I keep asking and I can't seem to come up with anything because not only you have to have the 20,000 square feet to accommodate the building, but you also have to have the adequate amount of parking and all of that. So it has to be an acre plus to accommodate that. And I don't see. Yeah, the only thought that I had was we used to have a zoning on all of 138 that was the first 200 or 250 feet were zoned residential. Beyond that was zoned industrial. And I was supposed to check on that and I haven't, okay, I gotta admit that. So I gotta look into that, and we may have actually changed that some time ago, and I just forgot, you know, so. That's the only thing that he possibly could purchase a property in this area, acquiring more land in the back, that he would be able to accommodate that. I mean, I just talked to him the other day because I'm on a Knights of Columbus, and he happened to be there as well because he is a Knights member. I would love to accommodate him and you know, that business in here. I don't want to see that leave. town. I'm still hoping that the Oasis will be able to accommodate him for a while until we do figure it out. So, but it's a big ticket item for him.
Yeah.
So is this business located in that building? Okay, it's an existing Dayton business. Does it start with
Going
a Z?
from 2 to 9. What's the name?
Oh,
The next item, just for FYI, and I think we already mentioned this earlier, was there have been discussion about reaching out to the developer who had worked in Wareham recently, Danny Warren, to see if we could get a contact, meet with him, pick his brain, if he'd be willing to come down. John graciously did that, just accidentally, purely accidentally. Lenny and I were standing next to somebody, and we overheard the person say, like, oh yeah, I had lunch with so-and-so yesterday, and we looked at each other. And it turns out that Dayton, one member of the Dayton treasurer, yeah, is a friend. So Lenny asked him if he'd be willing to like talk to him, see if he would be willing to come down. We haven't heard, but you know, so hopeful.
that's great.
Hopeful there.
I met with the owner of Shaw's Boatyard, and we talked about land along the river and potential growth. There's a little bit, but it's spotty. And as a developer, I'd be curious to see what Mr. Warren, taking a look at what is along the river, what is potentially available. Not what is available, what is potentially available. Because one of the things that I understand, what happened in Wareham was, and if you're not aware of what they're doing along the river, is a $30 million project.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was told is a developer went in with what is possible, not what is. Keeping this in mind, money talks. People will sell for the right price. And property and land and buildings is worth more or less depending upon what you're trying to accomplish. Secondly, some people with great resources aren't afraid to spend money. So what may seem like a lot to you or I isn't to them. So that's what I want to hear him say. You know, facility there, make a great restaurant.
Yep.
That house there might make a great bed of breakfast. Now the developer comes in and he talks to those people. What do you want? What's it worth to you to sell me your property?
It's a beautiful thought, but we also have to remember no sewer.
Yep.
No, I understand. And
We
Yeah, the
the
environment.
potential is there, but we need the most important thing.
Well, they might be able to afford to.
A restaurant, there's no way to put one there
right.
unless we have the sewer. Because the cost of a septic system
Crazy.
will hold this much. And then after that, you're going nowhere, you know?
Not another way to sell it.
They don't want change. They want-
Well, we all know that environmental impact with the sewer would be a positive. It is a costly thing. We know it's what is it, $1 million a mile, maybe more now? I
The
don't know.
more
For what?
sewage.
To put sewerage in,
$1 million?
it's probably more than that, right? I don't know. You're on the,
The rest of it would feed the rest of us for the rest
I
of
mean, I
us.
don't know, you know what I mean?
Nice words.
Well, 138, we were quoted
138.
from the sewer enterprise, the sewer survey was 22 million, just to the 138 connection.
Just on 138.
Yes,
Right.
that's-
Not include
Pleasant Street.
No,
They
that
would
did not.
throw that in.
Did they do a study on that with the pumping station to go into Somerset, Joe?
Say that again?
Did they ever do a study for Pleasant Street to tie into Somerset's pumping station?
No, I'm actually curious if that study that was done on 138, what would be the benefits?
I don't know. Yeah.
Is there any? Be the benefits of running sewer on 138 to the Somerset line?
I'm just going to, on the benefits of time, say this is a great discussion for another meeting. So,
Sorry?
just on the benefit, for the reason of time, I'm just going to say this is a great discussion for another meeting, so.
Oh, okay, all right.
There are benefits and there are negatives. So
Yeah,
have that in another.
I would love to discuss that further. You're absolutely right.
Next item is an update on the chamber networking event, which you've actually already given us, unless you have anything else you'd like to share.
The only other thing I'd like to say is that the chamber is moving. And I'm not sure if you're aware of where we are now. We're at 6 Pleasant Street, which is right next door to the brand-new courthouse that was built a couple of years ago. We have parking issues because people park in the parking lot. It's not a good situation. We've now secured a 5-year lease on a property that is being totally refurbished for us. We're moving next month. It is 170 Dean Street. So if you think about where Route 44 and Route 104 split, there's a Walgreens right in the middle of right there. On the left are some small residential homes that are commercially zoned. And we're gonna take up residence in one of those two-story homes. Great. So we're really excited about that. We just hired a salesperson. So we're really moving. And I'm very happy to report that. And so it's going well, yeah. We really are focused on not only Taunton and Raynham, but, you know, Taunton, Dayton and Berkeley as well. So, yeah, it's good.
For correspondence, I have no correspondence. For public input, we do have a visitor. Hi. And I'd like to,
Sorry to interlope on your meeting.
No.
Bill Koffler, I'm a yacht builder. I actually have a business in Britain. Looking for a place to move.
Yeah.
It is, I've been talking to Tommy for a few years. I had to stick my nose in here because I saw your meeting and just sort of get the flavor of what's going on in the town, okay? If you guys are interested in that sort of development. I built custom boats, 50, 70, 80 feet, nice world-class custom yachts.
Yep.
Employ 20-some people. Only on a third of an acre, in a 10,000 square foot shed. Wow. 3.5 miles from the water. So
That'd be good.
yes, that facility would grow my business dramatically. Have boats all over the world, not pat myself on the back. I've been 20 years in business in an inland facility. And I have people that want to back me financially. Shaw's is something I'd like to look at, but the zoning's no good for me, right off the bat.
Yeah.
No, because I'm light industrial. So, as a boat, I know that's what my business would be categorized as, light industrial. In fact, zoning as, got a funny zoning, actually.
Yeah.
When you brought that conversation up to the owner there, no bites, no,
Tom? Yeah, Tom and I get along just fine.
yeah.
So it says
So,
current zoning is open recreation and
Yes.
recreation.
Yeah. So, what are the possibilities of that sort of zoning being changed easily? I don't have years to wait. I hear you guys, so I know things take a long time. The public's gonna.
because it's an existing business, he stores boats there. He does not manufacture boats. I think there is a possibility there. I will tomorrow. Mike is listening, right?
I am. Yes, Joe, I always listen to you when you're
You're
selling your
welcome.
amazing shoes with no socks.
You are welcome to say, shut up.
No.
My view is, I think there is potential because of it being a boat service there now. Why not manufacture within that? You know, even if we had to throw some
I would
word.
keep it as a boatyard as well.
Yeah,
Because it's good money, but I would grow that business fourfold, three and a half times in the first 2 years, easily. The LQ of my business.
only to manufacture boats there, right? That's what you would do?
That's what I built custom yachts,
Okay, plus you would
run the boatyard.
run the boat, yeah.
People need a place, it's a nice boatyard, actually. I know that politically it's a little weird, but his clientele need that place. My dad and I grew up small boats. You know, we had our 20-foot wooden sailboat, and we had Beatons down in southern Jersey. This is one of the last bastions of a real boatyard. And if it goes away, it's just another one, you know, just everyone, the big companies are buying all the boatyards, all the waterfront.
Okay.
Joe, how would you
So
recommend, do you have one, do you have a business card on you?
Sorry?
Do you have any
I just
business
want to
cards
stick
on
my
you?
nose in here tonight and see.
Do you have any business cards on you?
See what
Any give them.
Must know Somerset would they? Yeah.
One business card. It's a very nice one. Oh, there's it right there, it's on my pocket. Sure. Thank you.
Mike, I don't know if you want to chime in, but I would say maybe the best way for him to proceed, one is, he's concerned obviously about
Carry.
zoning and not wanting to, and the idea of changing zoning would be difficult, so coming to the planning board would be his first bet.
If you go in and see our Harry day on the first floor of the town hall, actually the rear first floor of the town hall, first office on the right, Carrie used to, she will direct you in the,
Harry Easter Day.
yes, be good
Town hall.
to talk to. And I'm sure she'll be bringing us all up to date on whatever she discusses with you, and she will get in touch with the town process we would have to do. But I seriously think
Excellent.
that it, and I'm just a planning board member, that's all I am. I do see a lot of potential in that, because you're really not changing.
I'm not really changing the use, I'm adding to it.
Yes.
Expanding a little. And they have built boats there in the past. So,
What we may, to kind of put our minds at ease, we would probably like to take a look at your existing facility
yeah, sure.
and then see how much bigger you would want it. In other words, I don't want to see this thing go through and then all of a sudden you end up putting a 400,000 square foot building there.
No, I work out of a 10,000 square foot building right now.
Wow.
And it would be nice if it went to 15,000, but it wouldn't necessarily have to be any bigger than that.
Is
Just
there-
spending money on nothing.
Is there any building there that right now, any of that is no?
We have 2 soft buildings,
Oh,
temporaries,
okay.
and that's probably about 10,000 square foot right in the middle of the area. It looks like about 100 by 100, you know, so. But what I'm constrained by is the fact that I'm not on the water. And the last boat I built, you know, was almost. And our reputation, you know, it's a really small business, custom yacht building.
That'd be great.
Many yachts coming up the river to my yard.
Waterfront.
How is,
Some hotels.
what about the
Yeah,
Hotels, yeah.
river depth?
well, you know, look what happened in Somerset.
Multi-house.
Oh, okay.
Floating
They don't go, they don't go that deep, okay.
That would be excellent if that would happen. That's
I
outstanding.
think there's about 7 foot at the
Casino.
at the
That's
docks.
big.
I'm really not sure on
It's about
that.
7 foot, which is more than enough for what I do.
Okay. I was wondering about that, because I think you mentioned in a previous meeting
Yeah,
that,
well, just before that, well, we talked about it, there's an area there that even is 20-foot boat.
The Rock.
Yeah, that's,
well, so you know,
The Rock.
okay, you've done your due diligence.
well, you know, I
You
think,
gotta have the coast.
That'd be cool.
just yesterday, I was by the river and I seen a bunch of what do they call them?
Keep,
Jet ski.
Jet skis. Flying all over the place, doing circles. Like, "Oh," you know, I was there with my grandkids and I was, oh, this is gonna, you know, but people just, if they don't know that it's there and they go into that river, I mean, they can kill themselves in this.
Oh, right behind the rock on the
Yeah.
on the cockle shells, yeah.
Do you plan on our town hall sometime soon, or meet you there if you'd like, and just show you where everything is, but
Sure.
introduce you to Carrie. But if you have some time frame or something, and if it's not, you know, Lenny's card, you can always reach out to him and say what
This would be probably pretty quick.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we would want to move on this, quick. And he has, this is between you and me, by the way.
Mhm.
oh, son,
Here's a back and top.
being recorded.
I have spoken to Tom for quite a while now, so.
Okay. Wow. Exciting, yeah.
That is very exciting, absolutely.
Really good.
It's great.
For something like that.
Glad you came by.
Yes.
Say that, we're
Yes.
glad.
In fact, my website is on there if you want to look it up. We
Yeah.
build really nice things.
Could you say the name again?
You should come in and meet Kerry. You should come in and meet Kerry.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Please, thank you.
I think the next planning board meeting, if you'd like to, you know, if you come in and see Carrie, just, and ask her when the next meeting is at, maybe you can, maybe do
In the next week, I'll probably come over sooner than later, because the month of June, I'm actually away,
okay.
unfortunately. Early July.
The second Wednesday in July, we go for the planning board meeting. Either, that second Wednesday in July, I think.
Okay. And of course, we need some,
Yes, yeah.
we get the motion started. I just want to be able to make sure that you guys are willing to help me move forward.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Improve that.
I think it-
Viable waterfront.
If it's doable, I don't think you're gonna find a single board in this town that will go against you.
Yep.
The only thing is there a restaurant going in there? Is it, what is?
No, we were making
No.
a joke.
No. Is there one there now?
No.
At the boatyard?
Restaurant in town is 1712.
I'm sorry?
Full restaurant.
No,
No, okay.
I'm a boat builder, not a restaurateur.
Yeah, and you're not plenty
I'm a
to,
good cook, but
you can always cook for us, you know?
On your boat.
But, No, I just, those are the things that you're gonna find that you're gonna have to spell out what you're gonna do and not do and things like that,
On
so.
a boat, build yachts. That's what
There you go. You can build me one too.
Yeah.
I'll pay ahead of time. That's
Great.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You guys on the back here? I have your card, sir.
Yeah, I would stick with Lenny's card, wonderful, and
Card with-
just reach out to him if you decide when you want to come. and, Yeah.
Yeah, no, these aren't, this,
Show you around, carry a couple of things. Or next available when you're available. Then, between Joe and other members, we can probably clue you in on what are the kinds of things the planning board's going to ask and potentially have concerns about. So you have those in address, such as he's built boats there before, and this is the same individual.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
The next item, and I do apologize because I've been meaning to say something. Lenny, you had brought in the December 20th meetings at one point, and there was a correction that needed to be done, and they never came back. And I don't have a copy.
Okay,
So if you
so
can, the next time you come to the December 20th.
December 20, certainly.
Okay. But people do have copies of the February 28th and April 4th. Since Tom, I don't think you were here for those two, you probably wouldn't be ready to vote on them, but you can abstain.
Yeah, I glanced through them, but
All right, but if anybody has any questions, otherwise I'll entertain a motion to take the two of them as a group to approve those two meeting minutes.
Don't you usually put the name of the person who wrote this?
Generally,
Is that required? Okay.
no. I can start adding that, but
It's usually whoever the clerk is.
we don't actually have a clerk.
Okay.
Which is our. We've, between Lenny and I, initially him, and I've been doing it lately, say, writing up the meeting minutes, so. We have a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to
I'll second.
accept the,
Either way.
sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
One abstain, all abstention, so the meetings are passed.
I have a discussion
Sure.
issue on that.
Okay.
One of our responsibilities, help you with this, is that all minutes are supposed to be forwarded to the town clerk.
All approved have been,
Okay.
and they've received them, they confirmed it.
So he has all of the ones that he's been, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Like-
I have to
like
check that he's
electronically?
posted them, as requested.
I'm sorry?
I can go back and check that he's actually posted them to
Okay.
our report, but yeah, the clerk and the two assistants or the assistant, I forget her name offhand, she replied back that yes, they have them, they will take care of posting
Yeah.
them. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
This, there is an individual who has been scrutinizing all of the boards to make sure that the open meeting law and the minutes are being filed.
Does
And,
he show up on the correct day to when he,
I'm sorry?
does he show up on the correct day of the meeting?
It's another discussion, not always, but he has,
Yeah.
A selectman's meeting, sorry.
he has put several committees, taken several committees to task. Just want to avoid his scrutiny.
So our next meeting, planned meeting would be the 4th Monday in June, which is, what date is that?
Well, it won't be June.
Monday,
The fourth
June.
Monday.
Yeah.
27th.
27th, yeah.
So that would be our next meeting, and I will send that out to everybody. Unless there's anything else, I'll, you have any last comments or, no? All right, so the meeting is adjourned. I have 8 o'clock, it's a long meeting.
Motion?
Oh, we have to motion to adjourn, sorry. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed? So meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.